Depending on the character's roles, some liberties to keep the plot moving are unrealistic. What I'm focused on is learned behavior, something you see over time. That is why I like series, because it starts to develop a character into a person and it constrains the writer into how the character can react. If you violate the spirit of the character, then you soon will find interest in the books will disappear. While the thoughts are inspired by the book, it does not imply the writer intended to inspire the thoughts I have. Max Harkey is a horrible person. He uses Marshall Xander to gain all he desires, flirts at first until Marshall endowed the ballet company, and then Max no longer must pretend. You see just how callous he is. Marshall should have long since valued himself enough to move on. Problem is, sometimes people send mixed messages. Max wanted money and had no intention of a relationship. Marshall, having low self-esteem and a lot of money, uses money to buy everything. Max never cared about anyone but himself. People do not hurt you from malice. They do not care enough about you one way or the other to deny themselves anything they want. If pretending gets you to fulfill a need, they will do it. Until eventually, you have had enough and refuse to give them the only thing they value, and then they move on. You, feeling betrayed, will want to get revenge. This keeps you focused on them, while they will eventually walk away convinced they did nothing wrong. In fact, they did tell you the truth. Ever notice how a person tells you exactly what they must up front, but out of kindness, they don't hate you enough to hurt you after all, so they offer you some kind words to soften the blows, while you are desperate for any sign that there is still some hope that things will change. They have been kind. They'll feel virtuous, but in truth, it would have been better to risk the friendship, especially when it is clear you are not disengaging. Sometimes being brutally honest is better. That is, if the goal is to keep the friendship. Over time, both will feel so manipulated by the other that when you finally get to the point of feeling friendship is possible, both will assume the other person is still manipulating. It's only a matter of time before they are back at square one. They will want you to admit you are totally at fault because, to them, that is all they will consider. While you might be willing to accept some of the blame, but certainly not going to take the whole thing, you might try and set a boundary and they will get angry because to them, you are still unwilling to own what you did. What good does it do you to talk to someone unwilling to acknowledge it takes two to have a misunderstanding? While the thoughts are inspired by the book, it does not imply the writer intended to inspire the thoughts I have. The attempt is to start a discussion and get people to think about human behavior from the perspective of the closet. How this might lead to problems that make friends or partners or even business relationships difficult. I can understand why some would dismiss this effort. I find reminders in how the characters behave with memories of my own experiences and then explore that aspect. It's meant to start people to think. It is not meant to imply I am right. If you do not share the ideals with others, then how will you know if you're right? When talking, the focus should be on challenging and exposing your ideals, not in changing other opinions. That would only lead to frustration, since the only person you can change is yourself.